It's a big exclusive for you, this. I can exclusively reveal that illegal migrants appear to be being given priority health care while Brits struggle to get a GP appointment or spend years on an NHS waiting list. A document that was sent to this very show reveals that GPs can charge about 151 quid per illegal migrant, which covers them for a year. But apparently, payments for providing health care for a patient with, say, level 1 diabetes care, which includes, regular blood screenings and medication reviews and all of that, etc., are a lot less. So it's £49 per patient. I'm just going to read you down this list here, right? So they must provide a mandatory 30-minute health assessment to people living in migrant hotels. I mean, I don't know how long your GP appointment normally lasts, but I think it's a little bit less than 30 minutes, isn't it? They must provide both same-day and routine care to patients registered at these hotels. So same-day and then ongoing care. Then GPs will travel to the migrant hotels to deliver their appointments. Again, I dare say that for most people in this room right now, you obviously have to go to your GP surgery to get that. And then the illegal migrants are registered at the practice within 5 days of arriving at that hotel. And the assumption there is, if these people are moved around the country, that will be the same potentially wherever they go, right? So you get guaranteed access to a GP immediately, plus being registered at a GP surgery within 5 days. Also, they get one session every week from hotels containing more than 100 people. So I don't know, again, how regularly you see your GP if you wanted to, but it would appear that there are lots of follow-up appointments. So every single week, they can get another session. They get free prescriptions as well, and there is no need for them to provide proof of identification or any proof of address at all at their GP. So there you go. That is the rundown. So if you were a money-obsessed GP, which not all of them are, but if you were, who would you prioritise? Would you prioritise the £150 a pop illegal migrants, or someone for an appointment that you might get 49 quid if you were dealing with someone with diabetes? I suspect it will be the first one. Staff are also expected to undergo additional training to ensure that they are, quote, supportive and understanding to these asylum seekers. So who's paying for that training? We have to give them extra training, do we? But here's the real kicker. Our source told us that referrals to secondary facilities, so that would be really a hospital, are prioritised, meaning that it's possible that not only could a Channel migrant get priority GP care, but they could also go to the top of the NHS waiting list. Then there is a page in this document dedicated singularly to resources for GPs to help them deal with asylum seekers and refugees, or illegal immigrants, as some people might call them. But if you click on some of the links, you'll find some really quite interesting stuff. So this is all the resources that they can access here, and obviously it's all these different files and folders. I thought, I'll see what's in some of this stuff. So I did. And there's a document called Migrants Know Your Rights, which states that everyone in the UK has the right to free care from a GP. But if you don't have proof of ID or address, you can still register, and immigration status or nationality don't matter. And at a GP's reception, they will not ask you for immigration documents, and they won't share your information with the Home Office unless a serious crime is involved. I find that quite astonishing, really. Again, it's another thing that we're told isn't happening, really, I think, isn't it? There's a lot to unpack there. I'm going to be revealing more about what I believe is a two-tier health service that prioritises illegal migrants over Brits in my coming shows. But it does look as though you might have a bit of a better chance of seeing a GP and getting good care if you came to Britain illegally, as opposed to being born here and paying into the system your entire life. So let's get the views of... Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high-interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days, and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni. My panel on this to begin with. And look, I know that there's a lot to unpack there, and you know this is quite a heavy-duty document. But I know, Christys, what was your initial kind of take on that, really? There.
Well, I mean, firstly, thank goodness we're not doing World War III again. At the start of your show. I honestly think that you schedule this show for world events because this is about the third show that we've had a war being discussed at the start of it.
It is. So one day it'll happen.
Yeah, one day. It's where you're scheduling it that way. This is obviously ridiculous because I don't know about you and I don't know about anyone in this audience, but whenever I have to try and get a doctor's appointment, my mortgage application was easier. You have to sort of ring up between 8:01 and 8:04. You sort of go. The last time I was on hold to my GP, I was queuing to queue. I was on hold to then go on hold because there was two hold systems, and then by the time you do get through, there are no appointments. You've got to then try again. If you go into your GP and try and get an appointment, you have to wait 3 weeks or something. So if you're actually dying of a heart attack, you have to schedule that heart attack. So clearly it's absolutely broken. The answer to this, if you are a migrant that needs this care, is, firstly, I don't think that migrants should be prioritised. They should be in the same way as everyone else, having to, queue up. But secondly, if you don't need to show any ID or any of those sorts of things, well, I've said it before and I'll say it again, you should need to show your national insurance card whenever you go and get any kind of medical treatment, unless you are run over. Then you get a pass, but otherwise you should.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Jane, this is, I think, a little bit ridiculous. And if I was a GP... Oh, where's that? First round of applause,
better late than never.
The concern for me, I don't know about other people on this, would be that if a GP was given a straight choice between being able to go to a migrant hotel and charge 150 quid a pop per person there, or maybe find another way of attending to someone in this room that might only get them 50 quid, which one are they going to choose?
Yeah, it is really concerning. I think in my local GP practice, which I visit as rarely as possible, there's often loads of elderly people. I don't think they'd particularly like 5 or 6 asylum seekers rocking in. So I've got no issue with GPs travelling to a hotel in some ways, but certainly they shouldn't be prioritised. We heard last week they were getting, 280 quid for glasses and things. There's a lot of unfairness, and I think certainly they shouldn't be jumping the queue. And I also wonder if them aren't speaking English, so do GPs access translators who are going to...
for a translator as well.
So it's another cost, another expense. Hopefully the fact most of them are young men means they're fairly healthy.
Well, I just don't think this gets spoken about enough, though, really, because, it's all very well and good, having the burden of just the number of people, and then you've got to locate them somewhere and put them somewhere and deal with all of that. But it is also a massive burden on our health service.
Do you not think your source of anger isn't the way that the migrants are being treated? The source of anger should be the way that everyone else is treated. The list of things that they expect or should be promised to migrants actually didn't seem that much. It was like being an honorary Scottish person. You get free prescriptions. Other than that, we should all be getting the same. And we're not. That's where the anger should be. The fact that I've never seen my doctor, I've had 2 phone calls with him or someone doing a voice. It's very difficult to tell, isn't it? I've technically got a closer relationship with the people on Babe Station than I have my doctor. They've all seen pictures of my rash and we've had more phone calls with them. But it's not the system that you should have. The anger should be with how bad the NHS is providing for us, rather than someone's getting to the front of the queue. We should also be at the front. We should get
that. I take it that you're very, very well intentioned, and I've seen that rash, by the way, as well.
Thank you.
What's going on tonight?
But the reason that no one can be at the front of the queue is because of the sheer numbers of people. So we can't keep increasing infrastructure to try and catch up with the number of people because it's not practical.
No, do you think, Charlotte, it's that sense of unfairness? There's obviously a bit of a powder keg environment in Britain at the moment. We're seeing protests pretty much every night now. And if you then kind of add to that the idea that there's a bit of a 2-tier health system as well, I think it's not going to help matters, is it?
This is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, because we can put up with so much, but if you come between us and the NHS and access to our services, I mean, this is going to be it. And it's also a real incentive. As if there wasn't enough incentives to be a migrant to come over on a boat. You've got this further incentive. Now, there's already a tourism, NHS tourism problem in the NHS, where people come over. You know, and one thing I would say is some of the people coming off these boats seem absolutely fine. They seem in really good nick because, of course, the boats now are incredibly sophisticated, so they're not having a rough journey. They're just walking on, being given a life jacket and coming off absolutely fine. But if I was a migrant, I'd be thinking, oh, I've got a bit of an ailment. I better get myself onto one of those boats because if I've got diabetes or a long-term health problem, I'll be seen very quickly, very efficiently, and I'll be looked after forevermore.
And it's the ongoing care is the situation as well. You know, I mean, someone doesn't just knock on my door once a week just to see how I'm doing. It's not really what happens.
I've tried.
Yeah, you have, Christys, and that's why we have a restraining order.
That is true. For legal reasons, I'm not allowed to. But can I just say, the only caveat, only thing that we say at this table is that I've no problem with children getting priority because basically there aren't any. So it won't actually have any bearing on our NHS care because there aren't any.
Yeah. Oh, but what about pregnant people? Because I've got this real bugbear, and we did a story about this in the Mail on Sunday, and it was massive. It was about a year ago, which is if you come over and you're heavily pregnant and you don't speak English, you get to the front of the maternity services because they hire in the translators, and then to save money, they don't want a translator on standby all day. So all the pregnant women who need a translator go in for the 1 hour that the translator's there. I was a pregnant woman once, pushed to the back of the queue.
Do you not feel the solution to that should just be, at some point, Google Translate? Like, GPs tend to Google stuff anyway. While you're logged on, use the Translate thing, we could have that sorted.
That happens all the time. I mean, every time I've used the NHS, I've seen someone there with their phone on the counter doing Google Translate.
But again, one thing, and just we'll wrap up on this, Jane, but one of the things that really gets me is this is another thing that we were kind of told wasn't happening. It's like, oh, no, of course, there's no additional burden on the NHS. Oh, no, there's no question of priority. And if I'm going to read out a statement shortly that, again, they are really saying there's no question of priority here. But I'm sorry, but I think there really is. You know, if you move somewhere, you're guaranteed a GP's appointment without needing to even say what your name is or where you're from. And if you register at a GP within 5 days, and, there's people at the moment here who are on NHS waiting list for upwards of a year or 2 years for things. That would not be happening if you just
absolutely.
do that.
I think for many years we have been turning into an international health service, and because we are now multicultural Britain, you get people who've got relatives abroad. They think, well, if my mum can come over, she's getting on a bit, she'll get much better care here. It is a big challenge.
It is. Right, so now I have to read out a statement from the government, which is, it is simply untrue to suggest that asylum seekers receive preferential treatment in the NHS. The NHS always prioritises care in order of clinical need. It's vital that all vulnerable members of society, including asylum seekers, are able to access the healthcare they need. It has been a legal requirement under successive governments for local NHS commissioners to take the right steps to enable this. And then we went to NHS North West London, which is the body where we got this document, which I've got here in front of me now. We got this document from, thank you to the person who sent that in to us, of course. They say that planned healthcare checks cost substantially less than A&E attendances, support important vaccination and immunisation checks, and keep emergency departments free for patients who need emergency care. We are required to provide GP care for everyone in North West London, including those in Home Office accommodation. But the thing is, now that we've got this information, what we can start asking is how much is all of this costing? And that is what we're going to ask. And I think there might be a big revelation there as well.